All right, guys, what's going on? How's everyone doing today? I've been, messing around with different audio equipment, messing around with different microphones. So I'm trying a different one. This is a built-in mic that I added to my new device. If the audio isn't coming in good, I'll put these on. Just let me know in the comment section. Also, I'm trying to learn this new technology you guys asked for. So we are. I'm using StreamYard. And as you guys are tapping in, let me know where you're coming in from. Throw a thumbs up. Money Meech in the house. What's good? We have a busy week. We talked about it yesterday on the live stream. We got the Jaron Ennis fights. We got the card in the UK. We'll pull it up. We'll pull the odds up real quick. Still learning how to do this, so be patient. All right, let's see if we're gonna add to stage. All right, there we go. First ever. I'm learning, and guys, it'll be a learning experience, so be patient with me. So these are the current odds. I'm currently showing you guys sports bet down here in Australia. Bet 365. The odds are a little bit kind of similar. I see everybody tapping in. Before I get into this, I'll do my what's up. DJ Green, what's good, bro? You sound decent. All right, cool. Brandon in the house, what's good? Figueroa Lane 84. Yo, Johnny, who you got? Bud versus Benavidez. It's a big weight disparity, boys. Considering Benavidez is, a light heavyweight getting ready. He has a fight signed, fighting Anthony Yard. It's just a big weight discrepancy. No, Mike Johnny's back, so the mic sounds okay. Goat in the house, DJ. Old heads, man. We got to try to learn how to use this stuff, don't we? Okay. So, all right, perfect. So I have a screen here. I have this device here. I got 3 devices, boys. We'll see if we do this. I want to talk about. We'll get to all the specific questions. Somebody asked me about Benavidez Bud. I mean, you could tie a storyline around that if you wanted to, considering Crawford has beaten David's brother Jose. But when you think about David Benavidez, he is still pretty young, and then he's fighting a light heavyweight. Crawford, I don't see that fight happening. And the question is, would you want to see that fight? Here's an odd I want to bring up real quick. Adu, shit, yeah. You boys are too kind, man. As you're tapping in, we'll get to more and more questions. I'm gonna go live twice today, so I got this live. I'm gonna upload I'm gonna get right into it, guys. I'm gonna drop the Jaron Ennis versus Uisma Lima prediction. It's gonna be no shocker who I'm going with. You know what I'm saying? I'm obviously going with Boots. I think the shocking bit is this component. The more I do the film study, and I'm gonna pull the odds up so you guys can see this here, because the money line, even if you like Jaron by knockout, which everybody is thinking, $1.26 to take Boots by knockout, right? $100 on that gets you your money back plus $26. I mean, is that enough juice worth the squeeze? Is that? Do you see this playing out? Even though this is Boots' first fight at 154, even though Lima, we talked about it, Lima's only loss is to Aaron McKenna in a decision. McKenna couldn't get him out of there, and Aaron McKenna could crack. So my upload, if you guys haven't hit notifications yet on my channel, click the bell so you never miss one of my edited stats on live videos, and I give you more evidence on why I like this bet. So you guys could see that. Okay, this bet, let's add it. It's Ennis on points. Ennis on points. You put $100 on Ennis to win, you get your money back plus $350. I really like that bet. So it just depends on where you want to put your money. You know what I'm saying? So this is what you would call a method of victory bet. On the money line, Boots, I'm taking this bet. I talked about it yesterday on my live stream. I already have action on this bet. I'm going to be posting it in our Discord today. I'm going to be putting it up on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't joined the Discord, guys, the link is pinned here in the comments section below. And it's a couple bucks a month. You become a Johnny Says Boxing Insider. I give you more than just my money line picks. It's a great community. We're at about 240 people now in the Discord. So join here, sign up here. It's a couple bucks a month. You get more access on YouTube. You get more accessibility on the live streams. As you can see, you get first access to my Stats Don't Lie videos, and you become part of that community. But I'm posting this today. I really like Boots by decision. It is, $4.50, so it's not a gimme. But when you weigh that with the logical reasoning on Boots by knockout, I just don't like that pick. So that's where we're gonna go. I'm gonna answer some of these questions now. Ezekiel Lopez, Janibek is a lot bigger than Crawford too. Yeah, Janibek, he's a big dude, guys. Janibek, if we remember, he was supposed to fight Hamza Shiraz. Shiraz pulled out. We know that Shiraz ended up, moving up at 68 against Berlanga. And then Janibek's missed weight before too. He fought Andre Mikhailovic, like a very club level Aussie, and he played with his food. He wouldn't be, I think what is he, only about 6 feet tall? We could pull his box right up in a second. Andres Bansalon, what is my thought on Boston versus Fawaz? So let's talk about that, guys. Let's talk about Boston versus Fawaz real quick. Let's pull those odds up. And we talked about this yesterday on the live stream. Okay. So here we go. So if you see this fight right here, Boston's $1.40. Boston's $1.40 on the money line. The draw 16-1. Fawaz is $3.25. So a little bit over than a 2-1 underdog. Guys, if you watch the first fight, I thought that Bilal Fawaz won the fight. I know he's a little bit older. We know there's, I think, a 14-year age gap. I mean, I like Bilal Fawaz to win this fight too. Like I said, give me 1 second. Let's pull up the scorecards on that first fight. Okay. Okay, here we go. So, guys, these are the scorecards the first time they fought, and this is answering Andres Bansalon's question. Junaid Boston versus Bilal Fawaz fought once already, January 25th, and it was ruled a split draw. I rewatched that tape. I talked to some of the boys who are in the Discord. Some of the guys are, especially one of my boys who makes a living off of this out of America. He agreed with me, man. The scorecards had one scorecard 95-95. The other scorecard had it 97-93 Fawaz, and the other judge had it 96-94 Boston. I thought Fawaz won the fight handily. And when you look at the fact going into the rematch, 10 months later, the odds I think signify the BoxRec algorithm when people who don't do their due diligence, who don't watch film like us, and just look at a fight. Oh, they fought once already before. Oh, that was a draw. Oh, this guy's 13 years younger. I still like Bilal in this fight, but it's up for debate. Let's go back to the odds. And here we go. And let me answer some of your questions real quick. I got Lima. Boots is overrated. Sean Porter voice. Boots been exchanging punches with Canelo lately. Adu, that means nothing. DJ Green says, I think Boots late knockout or decision is decent. Yeah, so the over 7, guys, this might also be the money pick. And we'll get to Fawaz. We're floating between conversations here. But let me show you this bit. Let me show you this bet. And this is something that Julius brought up on the live stream yesterday. If you don't like the $1.23 Boots by knockout, or the $4.25 pick Boots to win decision, something that's in the middle that I really, really like is the over here. So have a look at your book. Right now, my markets are giving me this one. I really love this bet here. So over 7.5, you get $1.89. So $100 on Boots and Lima to go over 7.5. $100 gets you almost 90 back. It's almost 1-1. I mean, the odds are great on that. It just depends on what you want to go heavy on. I think, yeah, I think that's the over 7.5 is obviously a safer bet because you even if Boots knocks him out late, you up your you up your odds from 123 to 189. Just checking on the rounds there. So yeah, let me know what you think. It's a it's a 12 rounder. Yeah, it's for one of those. We have to remember Lima is the IBO champion at 154. This is a 12 rounder. Whoever wins this fight will probably fight for what is it, the IBF? I think that's how these sanctioning bodies are aligned. And so let's go back to that one. And let's answer some of your questions here. Boots been exchanging punches. We'll see Figueroa, another can for Boots. Killer Man thinks that Uisma Lima's a can. I disagree. I don't think Lima's a can at all. Killer Man, who else is a can that you think that Boots has fought? Knockout odds, trash anyway. I think Boots' decision. I agree, Mateo. Kiza B, Boots going to be too sharp for Lima. I think late knockout. Okay, so it just depends what you want. I think the $1.89 over 7.5 is probably the move for you guys who think that Boots is going to get a late knockout. You know what I'm saying? It makes you more money. Just studied their first match last night. Comfortably gave Fawaz 6 rounds. Same. Adu says, I just parlayed Boots knockout, no distance. Allen, Arslan, and Boston money line. Easy money. Okay, so Adu, Allen, no distance for Allen Arslanbek. And Boston to beat Fawaz, easy money. How heavy you going on that, Adu? Kiza B, it's all good. DJ Green, I'd rather go over 6.5 just in case. Ezekiel Lopez, if it's even remotely close, Boots gets a decision. I feel like Lima is knockout or bust. I don't think that. I don't think the question is will the. You know, I don't see Lima winning 7 rounds. My point is, it could easily be 10-2. My hesitation on Boots stopping Lima comes down to Boots's maiden voyage in a new weight class. Lima's better than you guys think. Aaron McKenna couldn't stop Lima. Aaron McKenna, in my opinion, is one of the best fighters in the world at 160, right? Or yeah, 160. McKenna's been vying. How many guys out there are asking to fight Alam Hunalay? How many guys are putting their hand up asking to fight Adamas? Aaron McKenna, if you follow him on Instagram, he's been campaigning for these fights for a long time. So he was the bigger guy against Lima, and he couldn't get him out of there. So with all that said, I'm not saying it's going to be a 7-5 points decision. It could be a 10-2 points decision, 8-4, that sort of thing. Figaro, how much would $100 on Lima get you? $100 on Lima would get you 1,500. Let's do it real quick. Okay, so Lima here, 14-1. We'll throw 100 on him real quick. So Lima to win on the money line, you get your money back plus 1,300. So yeah, he's a $14 underdog, which is quite significant. Charles Oliveira, the easiest money of the weekend. We'll get to MMA in a second. You know, we have the Contender Series fights going on tomorrow. There's UFC fights this weekend. We have a lot of boxing to cover. We got obviously the Boots Lima card, but there's also another fight on this card. Let's go over the odds real quick. I think I talked about it yesterday on the live stream. I think there's going to be a few upsets this weekend. I think regarding the Vegas odds at the moment, I think they got it wrong on a few of these fights. I'm not gonna lie. I really like Bilal Fawaz, like I already told you, is the dog. I mean, so many people are quick to write off Reese Bellotti against Padley. It's like, how much credence do we give Josh Padley for getting stopped against Shakur Stevenson? And how much do you take away from Reese Bellotti for getting stopped in the 12th round only a few months ago against Ryan Gardner? I'm not saying I'm leaning on Reese Bellotti, but it's important to ask, are people overlooking Bellotti in this fight? He's a $3.40 underdog. We got Dave Allen, who's an underdog against Arslan Beck. I already told you guys how I feel about that fight. I'm going to be uploading my breakdown on that. But here's the one on the Boots Ennis card right here. So Tamir Smalls versus Jose Vasquez. I think Tamir Smalls is going to be on upset alert. I'm not quite convinced that I'm picking Jose Ramon Vasquez at the moment. Yeah, BoxRec's a mess right now. Okay, BoxRec. Okay. Events. Dude, the amount of ads on BoxRec is insane, by the way, boxrec.com. All right, here we go. Tamir Smalls 15-0, Jose Ramon Vasquez 14-1. I'm going to show you the screen real quick. And yeah, it's out of. Okay, so this is Tamir Smalls, like I told you. He's 26 years old. He's a Philly guy. He's 15-0, 11 knockouts. He's fighting Jose Ramon Vasquez, who's 14-1. Vasquez is a 6-1 dog. Have any of you guys done tape on Tamir Smalls and Vasquez? I was asking the Discord this exact question. I'm not like putting my money on Vasquez yet, but when I'm looking at this matchup, Tamir Smalls is 5'9". Vasquez is 6'2", right? That matters. 14-0. He only has 6 knockouts. Who's he lost to? He's lost to Cesar Francis. He's coming off a win against Jaleel Hackett, in which he was an underdog. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that jumps off the page just yet, but all I'm saying, it's a fight to do your film study on, to kind of put an asterisk. Put this fight here as an asterisk for you bettors, as maybe sprinkling something on the dog. I'm not like, it's not my exact underdog of the week yet, but I'm gonna get into it. Will Padley, Breaking Bad in the house. All right, boys, you guys are tapping in. How do I see the Dave Allen fight going? We'll get to that in a second. Breaking Bad says Bilal Fawaz odds are dropping fast, already 2-1. Yeah, I took money on. I got Fawaz yesterday at $2.40. Tyler Randolph says I will put $5 on Lima and go heavy on Boots. I don't see Lima winning, but Figueroa prove us wrong. Breaking Bad says Padley stops Bellotti late. Top 3 confident bet of the weekend. Stops him late. Yeah, man. It's like it just really comes down to Padley versus Bellotti. I mean, nobody is going to sit here and put their hand up and say they knew who Josh Padley was before Shakur Stevenson. I mean, I think he fought Mark Chamberlain. Are you guys? I mean, Mark Chamberlain's not a household name. We knew who Reese Bellotti was. I remember watching Reese Bellotti dating back to 2019, 2020. So all I'm saying is, all I'm posing the question is, it seems to me the mainstream, the fandom, what have you done for me lately? A lot of people are putting a lot of credence on Josh Padley because he got stopped against Shakur in the 9th on late notice. And I think they're kind of overlooking Reese Bellotti. We'll see. I thought Bellotti was going to hang him up, actually, to be honest with you, after Gardner stopped him in the 12th. And so to see the boys turn around Bellotti as quick as they did after a 12-round fight, it does kind of, give me hesitance. I'm not sitting here saying I'm taking Reese right off jump, but that's another fight. The Reese Bellotti, Josh Padley fight. Look into it, boys, and I'll give you my predictions later in the week. Tamir Smalls, Jose Vasquez as well, dude. Tamir Smalls is a huge favorite. I think he's going to be on upset alert here. Fawaz odds are dropping crazy. What's up, guys? Dropping my Dave Allen. He really lost to Hackett. Decision. Yeah, I have to rewatch it. Keys to B. I've been watching Padley and Bellotti for years. I think Padley way more skilled. Bellotti's a dog, though. Tyler Randolph. What card Chamberlain versus Patty on? Because I thought I watched that. Yeah, it was a while ago. It was a few years back. Padley's went over Chamberlain before. Shriek caught Padley is stopping that man. Caught alive. What's up, TJ? TJ, we'll be going live. Yeah, your Thursday, my Friday. The clocks changed here, by the way, boys. So my clocks, but TJ, it's still your time. We're still going your Thursday, 9 p.m. Figaro Lane says never underestimate hunger, dedication, desperation. Lima wins. Wow. The boys are talking about Figaro Lane is saying that Lima is going to beat Boots. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say you're wrong. I'm not going to also sit here and say I'm taking that bet. I do like Boots by decision. I like it if even if the odds were 50-50, I would still like Boots by decision. I don't want to say Jaron Ennis fights down to his opponent. That's not why I'm saying I like it by decision. Uisma Lima is better than you guys think. I think Uisma Lima is getting overlooked here. So we also have another fight you guys asked me. All right, let's talk about Dave Allen, Arslanbek. We'll talk about the odds real quick with Allen and Arslanbek, and then I will bring up each guy's box rec, and we could kind of dissect. We could kind of pick and choose what we like, because a lot of you guys are with Dave Allen are saying that, oh, he does have some head scratching losses, the Fraser Clark loss. But when I watch Arslanbek's tape, guys, there's nothing about his tape that screams, holy shit, this dude's scary. I've never like the media at one time, the media portrayed Arslanbek as this sort of like marauder, destroyer, one punch knockout guy. I think he's slow. I think he's stiff. I think he doesn't, his setups are very predictable. I think Dave Allen, I mean, you give me, he's $2, he's a $2.10 underdog right now. So it's not quite a 50-50 fight. You put $100 on Dave Allen to win just on the money line, you get your money back plus $110. So you're double, you're 1-1 in. Let's see with will the fight go the distance. Let's look at a knockdown prop. You guys also have to understand Dave Allen, of all of his knockout losses, he's never been knocked out unconscious. He's never been to the canvas. So when Dave Allen gets stopped, it's either in the corner or standing. So the knockdown prop is a little bit risky on that. I do like whenever I'm taking an underdog, I don't get sexy with the prop bets with the method of victory. I already like Dave Allen on the money line. That's enough for me. But some of you guys were asking about knockdown props. Will each guy be knocked down? Allen $1.63, Arslanbek $2.07. Yeah. So what are you guys seeing on the tape? What are you guys seeing on Arslanbek today? Somebody sell me on Arslanbek, because I know Adu, if Adu's still on this stream, I think it was Adu or Alex yesterday on the live stream was talking about they like Arslanbek, and I just didn't see it. Figaro, yo, Johnny, I seen your Shadowbox video. You got to call. Thanks, Figaro. I'm always working. Got to work on it. I got to get the elbow up, like it's a switch, but, well, elbow up. Arslanbek's not good. I agree. Sal's Blog Talk. What's up, buddy? What's good, Johnny? Excited for the Allen Mac. Me too, man. There's some sneaky good fights, boys. There are some good fights this weekend. Don't let the mainstream boxing media lie to you. Don't let people, I take this personal. I take boxing personal. I'm a loyalist probably by fault at sometimes, but people are like, boxing's not in a good place. Boxing's in a good place. Boxing is simmering right now. Boxing, there's like a low boil with low heat, and over time it's simmering. We have a lot of great fights coming up, and there's money with these odds this weekend. It's going to come down to, like I always say, sometimes the best money we win are the bets we don't make. Sometimes the most money we make is the money we don't gamble. But when we have massive cards, we sometimes could get big-eyed and like, I got to get action on this. I got to get action on this. He's fighting. This card's stacked. I got to bet on every single fight. So when I'm watching, so I can have action on every single fight. That is a full-on neurotic, impulsive, addicted way to bet. My point is, when I'm looking at these fights, There's like, I'm probably only going to play 2 or 3 fights this weekend. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to give you guys my long parlay like I always do. It'll be like a 10 fight money line. But when I say play, I mean betting money that, I'm going to be, significant amount. There's like 2 or 3 fights that I really, really like. And I think this is a weekend that we can make a lot of money on playing specific fights. Like last week, you guys were betting on Regan Glacken and Steve Collins Jr. I was telling you guys, I was like, those are sort of club level, C level. Regan Glacken is a guy that, like, I know a lot of you boys know. Some of you guys are Philly guys. Some of you guys are, in DC. Some of you, in any wherever you are. I'm sure you boys know a couple boys at the gym or, even, training that you probably would have been confident with mixing up some of those fighters this weekend that some of you guys were betting on. At least have standards. If you're betting a lot of money on a guy that you can't see that is world class, don't bet. Mateo, you don't want to. Yeah, Arslanbek's tape is it's hard to watch. DJ Green, Mateo going to fall asleep in round 2. Arslanbek is hard to watch. Mateo, you're right. I have Allen winning that. Adu and DJ 100%. Arslan will touch the canvas. Fresh BX, Allen called that Santana fight right. He was on point. Javier Santana, go to my live stream last week. I told you guys to take Javier Santana. He was a 4-1 dog. I didn't bet it. I didn't put money on it. But Fresh BX, I have receipts. I said Santana, that was the play. He would be the upset of the week. My dog, Stefan Hoops, spars with Boots. Hops. That has to be fun to spar with Boots. He seems like he seems like a fun sort of dude to spar with. Very unorthodox guy. It's interesting. I talked about this yesterday on the live stream, how the boxing fandom, when a guy is undefeated, people hate on him and they say he's overrated. They say his resume is trash. And then when a guy loses, they say he's a bum. He was it's so insane about the boxing's fan base. It's never like, man, this dude's solid. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you do support a guy, people call you out. All right, Guido Vanilla. Did you guys tape Guido versus Alexis Barrera? That's an interesting one. This is another fight. Guido versus Alexis Barrera. Guido is an Italian former Olympian. Alexis Barrera, Canadian. We last saw Guido Vianella versus Kiki Torres and went the distance. Guido has a bit of craft to him, man. He has a bit of class to him. Big dude. I think Guido's 6'6". I think Alexis is 6'4". They're both big guys. Right now, Guido's a $2.35 underdog. That's another fight, mate. I really like that fight. I'm probably going to be taking Guido in this fight. So it's interesting. There's money to be made with these dogs. And like I said yesterday on the live, boys, the fact that this time next week, a lot of us are going to be like, dude, I knew it. We called it. And the other half, the other section is going to be like, dude, I missed that. I missed it on that. But whenever we're getting $2.35 versus $1.66 or, 50-50 fights, there's going to be money to be made. It just depends on, if we get a good read. Sometimes we don't get a good read. And sometimes the judges screw us. Nathaniel Collins. I'm still salty. That one for me is still, it's going to take me a week to get over that one. Cristobal Lorente. There's no way you give him 6 rounds. There's no way. I watched it twice. I'm still salty, but I'll debate anybody. That was insane. I was kind and gave it 7-5, and then I rewatched it 8-4. But to say that Cristobal Lorente, and then the idea that we forgot about, like, the fights in Scotland. Collins is the A side. These things matter, dude. And you get these judges. Yeah, I was salty. I didn't see anything. Lorente was tougher than people thought he was going to be. I liked Lorente late, probably rounds 8 to 12 overall, not winning every round 8 to 12, but how he would punch back with Collins. I think what happened was somewhere around round 5 or 6, Collins had that big round. Lorente made a great adjustment. He told himself, well, I could punch with this kid now because his power's not there. So Collins, one thing, his power didn't carry a lot of that. Collins said after the fight that he he didn't manage his gas tank properly, which I kind of accept. And when you saw that Lorente noticed that, that's when he started punching with him. And every time Collins would throw, Lorente gave receipts. So that looked good. Optically, that looked good. But was it good enough for a draw? I don't know. I watched it twice. I'm not going to watch it a third time. I'm not going to watch it a third time. Boost by decision, late stoppage. DJ, I hit on the draw on that fight, but got the... No way. You boys are savages. DJ hit on the draw. Good man. Why you mad, Toya? So what you saying? Boots by UD and David by UD. Toya, I like Boots by decision, and I'm taking David Allen on the money line. So we'll do this together. And here's why. Because David Allen's already an underdog, so I don't like putting method of victories. He's already given us money, right? So if we put this two-legger on the same ticket, we'll do it together. Jaron Ennis by decision, and then we will add Dave Allen on the money line. $9.45. So $100 on this gets us $945. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, but I like this bet. $945, let's go. $100 gets me $945. Now, if you think that Boots is going to win by knockout, let's switch something up real quick. So if you think Boots is going to win by knockout, but late, the knockout only pays $1.23. So if you're catching this stream late, Toya, here's what I like. This is a way that you could still take Boots by knockout, but get better odds than $1.23. So let's remove the 450, but let's go alternative round betting, round markets. I think it's going to take Boots. If he does get the stoppage, I think it's going to be late. So my two favorite bets on that is either Boots by decision at 435, or Boots by late stoppage, which would give us over 7.5. And that over 7.5 is paying $1.89. So he gets the stoppage, anywhere from the 8th round onwards. So you put the over 7.5 at $1.89 with Dave Allen on the money line. $100 now gets you 396. So 100, almost 3-1. It just depends what you like. It depends what you like. I think that's a bit safer, but when you do your tape, when you watch my breakdown, I'm uploading it after this live stream. My stats don't lie of Ennis versus Lima. The fight to watch with Lima is Aaron McKenna. Guys, Aaron McKenna is the real deal. Aaron McKenna is a kid. He has a brother. His dad, it's well documented. His dad took the boys to America. I heard about Aaron McKenna I found out about his relevance as a legit potential world champion one day from Brian McKenzie, Bomac, from my Facebook group. It was before, because I was kind of on the fence with McKenna before the Beefy Smith fight. And then I messaged Bomac because I had heard McKenna spent a lot of rounds sparring at B&B. And Bomac, I shared these messages on our YouTube channel. I could pull these receipts up, but Bomac had nothing but great things to say. He said McKenna is married to the game, hits like a truck, tough as nails, psychologically switched on, and he couldn't stop Lima. And McKenna's a bigger dude than Boots is, and I don't like doing these. What we're doing is triangles. All I'm saying is if you need my logical reasoning to believe in the $4.40 bet, Boots by decision, that is kind of where I'm leaning on. We're not just picking bets based off we like the odds. We're picking our bets and our options based off of what we see in film study. So that to me, the McKenna not being able to stop Lima. Also, Boots never fighting at 54, his first fight at 54. I'm not going to sit here and say that Boots fights down to his opponents. I've heard some commentators say that. and they try to kind of over they try to like suggest that Karen Chukachin isn't world class. Chukachin is a tough ass opponent. So sometimes Boots takes a little while to click into gears, is what I'm saying. You know, because he's a momentum guy. He's a rhythm guy. He's a showman. He's flashy, great reflex fighter. Sometimes he does get susceptible. Um, you know, does he every now and then get hit with shots that he shouldn't get hit with if he was just here? Yeah, but that's just his style. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of that's kind of where I'm leaning at. PJ, what's up? Got that upgrade on the screen share. I'm learning, PJ. You boys asked me. I'm learning how to do the screen share. You guys ask. You guys don't know how much effort I put into this, by the way. So I thank you for tuning in. Could we like this video though? Could you get the thumbs up? I don't know how many likes are on this, but as you're tapping in, like the video. We're 35 minutes in. We're doing another live stream today. I got 2 stats on live videos coming. It's a busy week for us. I appreciate everybody tapping in. Let's get into this even more. If I go stoppage, I got to pick what round to win some bread, like 1 through 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 12. And that's the risk, Toya. That's the risk. Ask the chat. Hey, chat, if Boots gets a stoppage, answer Toya here, chat. If Boots gets the stoppage, put a 1 if it's 1 through 6, or put a 2 if it's 7 through 12. So 1 if Boots gets the stoppage first half of the fight, 2 if Boots gets the stoppage second half of the fight. Help Toya out. Give her a little bit of peace of mind here. I like McKenna. I don't know about his pop. He took a while to get Liam Smith, and I was on McKenna in that fight. Yeah, we won a lot of money on McKenna by stoppage too, though. But Liam Smith, I mean, McKenna was an underdog in that fight, guys. McKenna goes into that fight as the underdog, 235, and he got the stoppage. Put him on the money line. This is boxing. Dave Allen and Oliveira, best bet of the weekend. Ooh, the Kiza B special, mixing boxing with UFC. I like it. Mateo. Okay, so Toya, you still here? So Mateo says the second half of the fight. PJ says the second half of the fight. DJ Green says the second half of the fight. I'm going David by UD and Boots by okay. Toya's going first half. So Toya, it can happen, dude. Boots is that dude. I think Boots is that dude. Boots is young. What, 28? Boots is young. Big dude, skilled, athletic. What a fun guy to watch. 100% unless he catches him cold. Jesse Aguiar, second half of the fight. DJ Green, second half of the fight. Can you make the screen share bigger? Damn. You guys, how do I just learned how to screen share. Now people like, let me see. I'm about to just start pressing buttons. Is that good? We'll keep my big ass head little. FX coaching, is that good? All right, good. We'll keep it there. I got a big ass head anyway. We'll keep this. This little screen makes my big head little tiny, which is good. All right, Boots knows you got to show us something special. Can you? All right, so let's talk a little bit about. So I gave you. We did a couple parlays. Let's talk a little bit about. There's another fight we haven't. We started with Fawaz versus Boston, Padley versus Bellotti, Allen versus Arslanbek, Tahir Smalls versus Vasquez, Guido versus Barrera. Guys, there's some good fights, mate. Somebody, anything specific? We're about 40 minutes in. Let's bring up. I want to let's bring up Boots' resume real quick. Okay. So I'm just pulling up Jaron's resume real quick. 34-0, 30 knockouts. We know he's undefeated, right? 28 years old. All right. This is who he's beaten. What do you like here, guys? What do you guys like here on this resume? You know what I'm saying? So because you got Stanionis, who was 15-0, look great. Stopped him. Chukachin, he fights Chukachin, Avanesian, Roman Vila, Chukachin, Custio Clayton, Thomas Sergey Lipnitz here. This Lipnitz fight at the time, that was the only kind of legit sort of world champion that Boots had fought. When we look at this resume, what do you love about this resume? Now I'm just I already told you guys I'm a Boots fan. All right, we know this. But when we look at this resume, I feel the Chukachin fight was his best win, which is like, you know, people were going to say the Stanionis win, but let me show you something real quick. And David Avanesian is no walk in the park either. So Chukachin 25-3, 13 knockouts. Still ranked number 10 in the world in BoxRec's wild algorithm, right? So since that loss, he's fought once. He has a win over Harry Scarf. His losses are to Jaron Ennis. And then his second pro fight. And if this is his best win, we just have to keep that in mind. That's all I'm saying. We just have to keep that in mind. We just have to keep that in mind. It's not like Jaron Ennis has a list and a plethora of highlight reel knockouts against legit world champions. And I should be able to say that without being deemed a hater. I'm not a hater. You know what I'm saying? So this is why the chat's important. This is why the channel is important, is because we could dissect the guy's resume. We could still be fans of Jaron Ennis, and we could still say, his resume doesn't really stand up that strong. Now, granted, the defense of that would be he's young. Jaron's young, man. And, he's 28 years old. 28 years old, entering the physical prime of his career. We're going to know a lot about him. Like, I put this kid, I section his career as literally what I saw against Roman Vila onwards. Roman Vila had a little bit of, people were excited about him for a little bit. And maybe I'm giving too much credence to Chukachin and Avanesian, because Avanesian's best win, he beat Shane Mosley when Mosley was 1,000, and he beat Josh Kelly, and a lot of you guys aren't sold on Kelly like I am. This is the stuff I sit with. And this is when Bud was coming up, when Bud was, campaigning for the Errol Spence Jr. fight, and then when he beats EJ, and then he was campaigning for the Canelo fight, and then he took the Madrimov fight, and people were trying to hate on Bud's resume. I'm like, Bud's resume is good, man. Like, you bring up, and I don't like dissecting resumes to use against fighters, but with Ennis, it's kind of like the knock on him. His haters will talk about his resume, is my point. So, with that being said, it's just important to think about. It's important to talk about. Fresh BX, if Karen gets some more fights with top guys, it'll age better. Harry Scarf. Yeah, Karen, a good boxer. I think he could get some good wins. Welterweight, not even a good division like that. No, it's not. Welterweight, 147 guys off the top, off jump. We know who the champions are at 47. You got your boy, the fight in the UK that just happened. And then Rolly, Boots, or no, Raleigh, Norman Jr., Mario Barrios, and then the kid from the UK who just won a very interesting decision. So yeah, 147 is easy pickings, I feel. I think Stanionis. So this is something. I think Stanionis could be a champion at 47. I think he can beat at least two of those current champions. At least two. And then that stoppage by Boots would look even better, because he did, he beat Stanionis everywhere. He made him quit, his corner through the towel, and he looked exceptional. Now, what do we like from Lima? You know what I mean? So what I'm going to show you Lima. What do we like from Lima? Not a household name. Nobody's going to sit here and say that, oh shit, when they announced Boots versus the IBO world champion at 154, the boys weren't like, yeah, we're about to eat. So Lima is ranked number 9 in the world on BoxRec algorithm at 147, right? He's from Angola, lives in Portugal. Portugal. Americans will say Portugal. It's Portugal. Here's the fight I was talking about. So he fought McKenna. June 23rd. What year? It was a 10 rounder. Pretty wide on the scorecards. 10 rounder. So is Lima's best performance is not getting knocked out against Aaron McKenna? You see what I'm saying? So those it's the reason why the odds are $1.23 for Boots to win by knockout. That should happen. So I'm not persuading you guys to not take that bet. Based off of this sort of stuff, that's why the money is there, is my point. So Lima's best performance was not getting knocked out in a UD loss against Aaron McKenna. And then Boots' best performance, let's just say Stanionis, knocking Stanionis out in his most recent fight. So yeah, it just depends on what you like. Lima's tough enough to go the distance. Boots is too good. Will he stop him? It really comes down to that. Welterweight, Devin Haney versus Norman. Who you got and why? We can talk. You guys want to talk about that? We'll talk about that. We're already 47 minutes in. Haney versus Norman. Obviously, if we're looking at advantages to give each fighter, you know what I'm saying. If we're let's see what the odds are right now. If we're doing our dissection of who and why, you know what I'm saying? Who's the current world champion? Brian Norman Jr. Who's undefeated? Brian Norman Jr. Who's lost before? Haney. Who has the more recent success? Brian Norman Jr. Whose natural weight class is it in? Brian Norman Jr. All of these things allow, Devin has an uphill battle against Norman Jr. Here we go. These are the odds. I haven't even looked at these yet. Wow. What do you guys think of these odds? Guys, are these odds fair? Do you think that because it's almost a 50-50. I'll leave this on the screen while I answer Chris's question. Chris B says Johnny Lima's last 4 fights, he beat good undefeated guys that are top 15 in the world, and he was an underdog in each. He beat guys that many boxing fans don't know. So Chris, are you aligning with my side? Because I'm not saying that Lima is going to beat Jaron Ennis, but I think Lima could I think Lima could go the distance with him. I'm saying, Chris, that Lima is better than people think. So I'm siding with you on that. DJ Green, I think Lima is tough. He never been dropped. No, he hasn't. Okay. Max, if the same Haney that fought Ramirez shows up, I don't even see how he can win on points. Norman 7-12. PJ, wow. DJ, Devin gonna have to do what he did against his last opponent. So you think that Devin Haney fights Jose Ramirez, so he's gonna take that same game plan against Jose Ramirez and implement that against Brian Norman Jr. The thing about Jose Ramirez is Jose Ramirez didn't, he might have been the most old aged 31-year-old fighter, former champion that Devin could have fought. He didn't have the footwork. He didn't have the reaction time. He looked a bit spent. He looked a bit long in the tooth. Dare I say SHOT in Jose Ramirez, which I don't like using. Brian's not that. Brian has quick feet. Brian is young. Brian is, smart. He has power, good hand speed, good footwork. Brian's a better boxer than people think. And if anything, Haney's camp asked for the fight. Maybe they see something. Haney's going to try to outbox Norman. Who's the better boxer? I mean, who's the better boxer? I think Brian Norman Jr., man. I like Brian Norman Jr. in this fight. Ramirez is washed. Haney didn't want any part of him. Yep. Sal's blog talk. Johnny, love Devin in this spot. Dropping it back. Nice, brother. Sal, you should come on the channel. We could talk. I want to hear your opinions on this. You like Devin in this spot. Okay. Ramirez didn't punch at all with Norman. Ramirez didn't punch at all. Norman ain't going to just let him move around. He's not going to let him move around. He's not going to let him move around. And we have to, so you think Devin Haney outpoints Brian Norman Jr. So we think that Brian Norman Jr.'s skill set is so low that when Haney is trying to jab him and move, that Norman Jr. won't have the skill sets to either counter or angle or bot or punch with him. So we don't think that Brian Norman Jr. is that good enough to punch and score on Devin Haney. I mean, what Devin Haney are we looking at with this evidence? What was Devin's best performance? How long ago? How much relevance do we give the psychological turmoil and trauma that we saw Devin bring into the ring against Ramirez? So is that Jose Ramirez fight enough to just totally turn Haney's mindset around off of the trauma of the Garcia fight? So that performance, do you guys think, the ones who think that Devin is going to win, he like leans on that Jose Ramirez performance and he's looking at himself in the mirror, like, yeah, I got this. I look good against Jose. I'm that dude, man. I beat Jose Ramirez, man. I just beat a former world champion. This dude's nothing. I'm about to dog walk Norman. Do you think he's saying that, or do you think he's thinking like, shit? If I don't, I'll be good and I'll be good if I don't get hit. I can beat Brian if I can beat Brian if, or is he saying I'm going to beat Brian? Because if he goes into that fight with the mindset of I can beat Brian if, he's gonna lose. He's gonna lose. My son sees me interacting all the time on here with you. He's so intrigued. All right, Sal. Sal, how about you send me a DM on Discord? I think Haney has elite talent, but he's too big to make 140 and too chinny for the big hitters at 47. Max, why do you think he's chinny? Why do you think Devin Haney's chinny? He's never been knocked out. He's never been stopped. I don't know what you mean by chinny. When I think chinny, Max, I think Amir Khan. I think a guy who gets knocked out once and then continuously gets stopped. Haney's never been stopped. He's definitely not chinny. His best performance was Cambosis, Boston, or Fawaz. I like Fawaz in that fight. If Haney gets cracked hard once, he's going to be shook. Brian is pretty good at cutting the ring. Brian is pretty good at cutting the ring outs. Brian, the thing about Brian's speed, it's explosive speed, and he doesn't stay around too long. Like the way he fought Jin Sasaki and the adjustments he made, even against from the Gio Santillan fight, because he was getting touched a lot, to the Derek Cuevas fight, to the Jin Sasaki fight. The adjustments that I was looking for Norman to make in all three was actually with his guard and his defensive responsibility. Because if you guys remember in the lead up of the Derek Cuevas fight, a lot of people were saying Cuevas was the biggest puncher that Norman had ever faced, and that Cuevas cut his teeth in Philly sparring, and Norman stopped him. And then Jin Sasaki going to that fight in Japan, the young Americans traveling to Japan. Sasaki's only lost. This is a huge step up for Norman, and then Norman stopped him. So it's kind of like we keep moving the goalposts farther and farther from really saying Brian Norman Jr. is legit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm not hating on the ones who are keep moving the goalposts farther and farther. I did the same thing, guys, with Floyd Schofield. I did the same exact thing, but I told you guys about it. Going into the Tevin fight, I said, I'm taking Farmer. I have to see more out of Schofield. And then Schofield went and did that against Tevin. I was like, oh, shit. All right. This dude, he impressed me. And, I stand on my own business, and I love being proved wrong. For me to be an old head like I am, to sit here and cheer against a young fighter when they're trying to be great, that's not what you're going to get on my channel. Just because I pick a guy to lose doesn't mean I'm hating on them, is my point. So yeah, there's a lot of the game within the game, the storyline within the storyline. It's my favorite thing about boxing. Garcia damage. Haney Norman will knock him out. Max says Linares had him on Queer Street. If Garcia fought smart, he would have also got the finish. 147 would be too much for him. Rambler says these juicers are all on borrowed time. Like Spence, he melted, and so did Canelo. Juicers, like Spence, he melted. I don't know what you mean by. I mean, I see what you're trying to say, Rambler, but I disagree, especially with the EJ component. Brendan, I think it's more that Devin stays hurt. Tyler Randolph Garcia would have. He just smothered his offense too much. Dog ass beard. Yeah. Well, the thing about Ryan Garcia is you see a guy who has a really good lead hook and then falls in love with it. And then ever since he was a little kid, he's had this good lead hook. And so maybe he hasn't worked on other things in his game. And this is a kind way of me saying sometimes when you have a really good attribute in boxing, you overlook other things. And with Ryan Garcia, you got to see those holes in his game, those other things, being patient, understanding range and distance, not going for the kill. When you have your guy hurt, stop headhunting, work the body, jab a bit, angle, try to find an angle, stop throwing everything at one speed. Garcia throws everything at one speed. And but that comes with a sort of maturation, a sort of patience in your work, and not everybody has that. And it's not a bad thing. Ryan Garcia got to this point where we're talking to him because of that attribute, that lead hook, and that power. Garcia, I got Norman on points. I think Haney's going to withstand the beating. I mean, just on these odds right here, $1.83 is enough for me to take Norman on points. Yeah, it's I can't see Haney beating Norman. I'm not a believer. There's no way. You're not going to sell me on Haney beating Norman Jr. I'm not a believer, and I'm not a Haney hater. You can't find one video of me hating on Devin Haney. So I'm not saying I just don't see. I'm not buying it that he's going to be able to go to 47 and be the first guy to beat Brian Norman Jr. Brian Norman Jr. in my opinion is a mini reincarnate of Joe Frazier. Like literally his mindset, how he throws his hook, his style, his willingness to throw, his willingness to get into a firefight. He's a throwback. Brian Norman Jr. to me is a throwback fighter. Everything about him I like. The relationship he has with his pops, his willingness to travel as well, be the B side. Not a lot of guys his age in his generation want to be the B side. He doesn't give a shit. He just wants to fight. That's the throwback, man. Brian Norman Jr. a lot to like. I don't see Devin Haney being the first guy to beat him. The thing about Norman Jr., he's not a physically big dude. So genetically, he's not a big guy. I don't see Norman Jr. I think the knock on him over time will probably be that like he stays at 147 because he's not a big 147. You know what I mean? I think Haney will probably be the bigger guy, even though Haney is because Haney. You remember when he was fighting at 35, he was cutting so much weight. Who knows how this goes? Personally, I got Norman, but won't count Haney out considering how good is. But how good is Haney's boxing? See, all right, guys. All right, guys. What about Haney? We're talking about Haney's boxing. When you look, even his jab, technically, I think that like before Haney got beat against Garcia, the resume, how he was going about his business, the hype, how young he was, and then people were finding what he's really good at, which is fine. But people are saying his jab is really good. All right, compare his jab to Richardson Hitchens' jab. I don't think it's. I think Richardson Hitchens' jab is so technical. I think he makes Haney look average. Like even Haney's backhand, he doesn't turn his backhand over either. He short arms it. So Haney will punch like there when we're talking about he's a good boxer, I think that narrative kind of got a little bit swelled in the uprising of the young champion, multiple division world champion. I think it got a bit swelled. And I think that what we saw against Garcia and what we saw against Ramirez. Now the kid's tough. The take home point for me is Devin Haney could take a shot. So I don't buy in that he's chinny. I actually watching him get that ass beat against Garcia. Disregard Garcia being a cheater, missed weight by 3 pounds, was on the bags, on the piss, tested dirty for steroids. All that is true. Scumbag for all that stuff, by the way. Scumbag, absolute scumbag for all that stuff. Be a goddamn professional, man. Be a samurai. Be disciplined. Be locked in. But for Haney to get that ass beat, belt the ass, and keep getting up, he didn't get stopped. He didn't quit, and he won a lot of rounds. If you rewatch that fight, minus the rounds he got knocked down in, he won a lot of rounds. So in you know he's a better boxer. Like I think that watching him against Garcia, my point is watching how he boxed against Ramirez. I don't know, man. Haney has got away once to the Garcia fight. I'm gonna answer these questions now. DJ, I think Loma beat up Devin. I think Loma beat him too. I think that as this age, I think Lomachenko beat Devin Haney. Haney's time is up. He got away once with the Garcia fight, getting his loss removed. I don't see him getting over again. I never been that high on Haney. I bet Ryan in that fight got it 700. Nice, man. Good hit, Kiza. DJ Loma should have won. Tyler Randolph, Haney never been that good, to be honest. I'm not hating because I respect his heart, but I agree, Tyler. Mateo, 1-7 mine. Ezekiel Lopez, they weren't given a 36-year-old who barely speaks English and multiple losses that decision. Ezekiel, great first name, by the way, man. The funny story growing up in my household, my father wanted to name me Ezekiel, but my mom wouldn't let him. She vetoed it, and then my birth certificate named me Jonathan. But Ezekiel, great name. Zeke. All I'm seeing is one-sided things. I'm not seeing nobody talk about Norman's. Norman has flaws, I said, but Fresh BH, we could talk about Norman's flaws. In my eyes, Norman's flaws are his setups. Norman's flaws are his defensive responsibility. But those things were supposed to be sort of like found out against Sasaki because Sasaki was, all the knockouts, high knockout to win ratio. I don't think Devin Haney has the power to highlight Norman's flaws. I think Norman's flaws, sometimes his head, he keeps it on the center line. Sometimes he lacks upper torso mobility. Sometimes he doesn't slip off of his jab. Sometimes he gets hit when he shouldn't get hit. When he punches with his opponents, his chin kind of stays high. I think his flaws are definitely there. And at 24, 25 years old, I don't think Norman's a finished product. I actually think as a world champion, he's still developing. I just don't think Devin Haney is the guy to feature those flaws. Ramirez fight has one of the most boring I've ever seen. Wanted my money back, my time, same. Arian, I see Brian shocking the world too. It's a 50-50 fight, man, and he's the world champion. Would he really be shocking the world, Arian? Haney is such a superior boxer, faster, better feet, and more experience. I mean, how do we define what a boxer is then, Money Meech? For people to say, he's a better boxer, the word boxing is so subjective. So like we first have to define what is boxing. You know what I'm saying? It's very subjective. Johnny says boxing sounds better than Appreciate you. Haney would be running for his life for Sasaki, right? Sasaki could crack, man. Dude, I can't wait to see Hiroka versus GAR. Gary Antoine Russell versus Andy Hiroka. I consider this Norman first real setup fight. Step up fight. Styles make fights. Oh, come on. Yeah. I wouldn't call it a step up fight, but is this Brian Norman Jr.'s best opponent? Yes. We would be ill advised to disregard Devin Haney's career resume so far. But let's have a look. Yeah, it's hands down. Devin Haney is going to be Brian Norman Jr.'s toughest task. I don't think anybody. I mean, I'm not saying who would say that anybody else Norman Jr. has beaten is a tougher task than Devin. You know what I'm saying? Let's have a look at Dev's resume. All right, boys. Let's have a look at this real quick. So do you guys like the share screen? Does the live stream work better since I learned how to use this? Just let me know, yes or no. This is freaking insane. Is Devin Haney still only 26 years old? Look at this. He's still a young man. He's still a young kid. He's only 26 years old, man. See, you got to give your props. Devin Haney, man. He gets people sleep on him. All right, 32, 15 knockouts. Let's look at this resume. These goddamn pop-ups are gonna drive me insane, boys. Okay, good. Nice. No, here's Devin's resume. Jose Ramirez, former world champion, beat him. Ryan Garcia, we don't have to get it. We know what happened there. Regis Prograis, former world champion, beat him. Vasily Lomachenko, former world champion, beat him. Kambosos Jr. twice, former world champion, beat him. Jojo Diaz, former world champion. Like, dude, the dude's resume is off the hook. The dude's resume is off the hook. This resume is crazy. Now, granted, did he really win this fight, or that was a close fight, or it should have been a split decision, or he got gifted a decision here? All that aside, all right, yeah. So we really just got to start probably at the Dungenny fight, and that's no shade on Burgos was decent. So if we start at Dungenny, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This will be his 14th fight since Dungenny. When's the last time Dev got a stoppage? I forgot I have this one too. Guys, what is Dev's best win? Money Meach, appreciate you. Addy, 100% better, but good to alternate between you and larger screen when looking at box rec books, etc. Haney's going to be the only one sleeping. What app you using, Johnny? StreamYard. I'm using, this one is called StreamYard, yeah. But it should be a loss against Ryan and Loma. I think Regis was Devin's best performance, super disciplined, could have stopped him, chose not to. Boxing fan, and I like Haney, but them shots from Norman is going to be brutal. Loma, Regis, Loma, or Regis. We're going to go to full screen real quick, and we're going to lock it up. So, guys, this is, we're about an hour and 7 minutes in. This has been fun, and I'm just going to keep getting better at this, by the way. This was my first live stream with using this software, but I think the software helps the story a lot more. It helps us tell the story and helps us keep us on track. I need to figure out sort of, because I wouldn't mind even bringing up fight samples and bringing up highlights of fights, but I don't want to get flagged. So I got to find out if I would get a copyright strike to even play fight highlights so we could start breaking shit down. Because one of my favorite things to do is breaking fight tape down and doing play-by-play on it. Because we just talked about Brian Norman Jr. and Devin Haney and the jabs. Because I could have easily brought up a split screen of Haney Jr. and Norman Jr.'s jab, and we could have talked about the technique. There's just something about Haney's jab, something about Haney's punches that I'm not in love with. It seems like he short arms a lot of his punches, and I want him to sell out more. I want him to sit on things more. But a lot of that is psychologically. He's only 26 years old, guys. He's only 26 years old, man. That's awesome. That's insane. Devin Haney's out here. He's the oldest 26-year-old I know. Guys, let's hit the like button. I'm about to close out. We were floating between 40 and 60. We're back. I'm going live again today. I'm uploading Ennis versus Lima. We got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of money to be made. Let's join the Discord. Join Johnny Says Insider Group. That link's pinned here. It's a couple bucks a month. Support the channel any way you can, whether it's a thumbs up or subscribe or join our team. Let me know. I'll see you guys in a few hours. I appreciate everybody here.